Welcome back to Taiko World Cup 2026, everybody. We have a group stage A match ahead of us. We have Norway versus Hong Kong versus Vietnam, my bad. Norway is in their group. This is Group A, the first opening match of the weekend of this group. Hong Kong versus Vietnam, seed number 20, seed number 26. I'm Leiden, and today I'm joined by my lovely co-casters, Ethan and Inker.
Hello, it's me, Ethan, Taiko Tris. First time I'm ever doing a match. If you watched the Quals Reveal stream, you may have heard my voice. I was ill then, so I'm feeling a little bit more energetic now, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, and I'm Anchor. I'm normally a catch debate caster, so this is very exciting for me. I'm mostly here to ask dumb questions, I think, so it should be fun.
Nah, there are no stupid questions.
That's so real. I'm an STD caster, so we have quite a lineup here. But nonetheless, a pretty exciting match coming up ahead of us. Hong Kong versus Vietnam, seed number 20, seed number 26. Pretty close when it comes to the seeding in general. And Ethan, if you want to introduce us to some lore behind these teams.
Yeah, so Hong Kong has always been... they've never had a true top-end player, and it's sort of reflected in this roster. They've always had a decent showing. Beanies is really the one to watch out for. New player coming in. A bit of an unknown quantity, but could be quite good. I believe they're a pretty solid Taiko Tachijin player. Vietnam, on the other hand, this roster definitely lacking a bit of that sort of upper skill limit. A lot of lower ranked players. Especially ones that have played in rank restricted tournaments. So this group stage, they could be very dangerous against Hong Kong, especially on a pool that is as easy as this one. So it could be quite a showing between these two, as Hong Kong go ahead and ban Hidden 2 and Vietnam go ahead and ban DT1.
Yep.
Yeah, it should really be quite close between these two. I know that Hong Kong will have I imagine they'll have the strategy down. I know that they've got Yongin, one of the casters, is pretty much the big brain when it comes to any Taiko tournament. So he'll probably have been in there stratting up for Hong Kong as to how to beat Vietnam. But yeah, just about to get into picks and get underway.
Lowest Star is always so volatile as well when you look at every single map, because pretty much I would imagine a lot of these players would be able to feel very comfortable on most of these maps, if anything. So strategy is obviously very much needed in here, and by the looks of it, it's going to be Vietnam with the first pick here. And what do you think is going to be the first pick here, Ethan?
Honestly, could be anything. I think Vietnam, I'm not sure if they have a good hard rock coverage. I know they've got I think they have a hidden SS farmer in Buttermilk, so Hidden could definitely be on the table, hence the ban from Hong Kong of that Hidden 2. So that could be a solid first pick for them. Again, but again with free mod 1, although that also makes sense. Lets them play to their mod advantage with Buttermilk potentially. But yeah.
I was going to mention the hidden or the SS farmer aspect of it. In many game modes, any SS farmer that plays this level of tournament is always going to be a scary player. And I've heard that Buttermilk is a very scary player for Vietnam for that reason. So it makes sense to go into something where they can really use that hidden SS farm experience, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a very easy map for players of this level, 4.8 stars. It shouldn't be any trouble mechanically. I wouldn't be surprised if this map goes, if we see, 4 hidden hard rocks and it comes down to sort of a couple 100s either way. It could be that close between these two teams. Looks like we've got Beanie and Henry in for Hong Kong, and Random Name and the aforementioned Buttermilk in for Vietnam. Great name. A random name, I don't know.
I mean, if you don't know what else to name yourself, then...
Yep, that is indeed a random name, I don't know, but hopefully their name will shine the brightest here, because we have an OC original ahead of us. Fremont 1 song by none other than Bengal Line in here. The BPM of this map is going to be 170, and from what I remember, this has a lot of constant 1-4 rhythm. Maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but skill set wise, I think this should be quite similar to the Nomad 5 in this pool, because Nomad 5, from what I remember, is 196 BPM, just constant 1-4 in the KIs. So a lot of tapping involved in here. With this one, mechanically, I think this is like less 1-4 rhythm spam, but still very much comfortable for all of these players involved.
Should be plenty of potential to pick up a couple 100s, as actually Beanie's swapping out for Hong Kong. Looks like Xing coming in. That is also not surprising. Xing is a very, very good rank restricted player on Hong Kong, so if they can play this, yeah, Vietnam, beware. It's very easy, fairly easy map, especially with Hidden Hard Rock. I don't believe it was too much of a challenge, but plenty of potential to pick up the occasional 1 or 2 100s, which probably will be the deciding factor. That as well as nerves, potentially. Group stage is very nervous.
Yeah, nerves is always going to be a big factor, especially early on in the tournament. You're getting started and you really just want to do a good job on the scene. So hopefully for these players, they can get those nerves under control and get some solid scores here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of experience on the field at the moment. Maybe potentially even that's why Beanies isn't coming in on Vietnam's first pick. But yeah, we see 1, 2, 3, and
That's
4
hidden hard rocks, actually. Yeah, that's a lot of mods in here for free mod. I'm really excited to see this one. But yeah, in general, what you also need to consider is the early match nerfs as well. Early match nerfs are usually the most volatile, and here we go, starting off with this map. Immediately, a few hundreds dropped already from random name I don't know and Buttermilk. Not the early good start here, but still they snatched the advantage earlier on due to accuracy on Henry 03, but still nothing too volatile so far.
Yeah, ooh, but it's not terrible. It's fairly early miss. Taiko doesn't punish misses as much if you can recover the accuracy. But that's still going to hurt Hong Kong. That miss from Xing coming in, and yeah, those nerves maybe already starting to play a deciding factor. But you can see even with that miss, the score hasn't grown that much. Random name was dropping a fair few 100s there, so it's still within reach for this Hong Kong team as we hit the first Ki.
It is indeed, and the player we talked about a little bit before, Buttermilk, is the one standing out right now with that 99 plus accuracy, really making a big difference for Vietnam here.
Really, indeed, 99.2% and growing. Still the advantage on the Vietnam side. The first catch slowly coming into its inevitable conclusion as Vietnam are still in that lead with 20,000 points, looking comfortable so far. Slow section is now upon us. But nonetheless, the combos are there, and the accuracies from aforementioned players, both Henry and Random Name, have been building up that accuracy. As soon as I say that, though, Random Name drops a few hundreds here and there, but still shrinking that advantage from 21 to 15,000. But with half of the map now gone, we are slowly picking up the pace.
Yeah, there's not much left. Xing's recovered nicely, already back up to that 400 combo cap that Taiko has. But yeah, that score lead's come down, almost halved now, down to 12,000 there for a second, but a couple more 100s from Henry and Xing send it back to Vietnam. Yeah, this is all these pools are going to be about, pure accuracy. Buttermilk holding a very impressive score with this hidden hard rock, 99.4%. 100 drops from Random Name, and all of a sudden that score lead is into the 4 digits now between the two of them.
Yeah, the score lead is shrinking, and maybe Hong Kong can catch up here. It has gone back up to the 5 digits, but Hong Kong definitely doing their best to try and catch up here.
It's very close. Any mistake from the side of Vietnam, and this might swing towards Hong Kong, but so far, it's very close. 9,000, it has been there for quite a while. Let's see, Henry finds a miss, though. Very volatile here. That will make a huge difference here as Vietnam continue to hold on. Buttermilk going through those notes as if it's butter. So far, holding the combo, and that accuracy is still ridiculous. 99.5% as Buttermilk finishes up this map with just the ridiculous accuracy to earn his team the first point on the board.
Yeah, wow. That's a very impressive score from Buttermilk with a 9-100 FC. And yeah, really unfortunate miss from Henry there right at the end. It was really close, especially when you look at the 100 counts between the two teams. Really close between them in terms of pure accuracy. But Vietnam will secure their first point. Now it's Hong Kong's turn to pick.
It is indeed, and I'm very curious what direction they decide to go here. Of course, I don't know these teams very well, so I can just shoot a random guess in the dark. But Ethan, do you have any idea where Hong Kong might go with this pick?
I think, like I said with Beanies, TNT players, generally they come into the game they can just read and they can just play pure mechanics better than any player of a similar play count. So I would say maybe one of the more mechanically difficult maps, something like maybe a No More 2 or 3, or maybe whichever map is a bit of a stream. But no, going with a Hard Rock 1. Not too surprising. Xing is a very good, like I said, rank restricted player, so at this level, Xing is pretty comfortable on everything. Even with that low accuracy, they were still able to only 2 miss the hidden, although I was going to say the hidden Hard Rock pick, 3 mod 1. But both Hong Kong players disappearing, possibly, I guess, just to do a res check.
Yep, a bit of a check. Hard Rock does space out your notes in here. Is that even how you refer to them? Are those notes? I don't think those are notes. It's like Dons and Cots, right?
Duns and cats, although you would just say notes. I don't know. I'm not good enough at the game to be involved with that kind of terminology. Somebody was very impressed when I hit a 6-split the other day, and I had to ask them to explain what a 6-split was.
It's like, I guess, a chain of 1-4 notes in like a chain of 6, I'd imagine. But yeah. Also, another thing about Hard Rock and how extremely tremendous it is when it comes to taiko is that OD is a huge factor in this particular game mode, if I'm right?
You're asking the wrong person.
Alright, fair enough.
I love casting matches, but if you ask me to explain what OD is, you've lost me at the starting blocks, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair enough. Because like in SCD, for example, if you were to go with Hard Rock, for example, the OD would be high and basically be a lot more... Basically, the 100s and 50s will be a lot more frequent. It'll be a lot more difficult to hold on to your accuracy. And I would imagine that this is probably how it functions in taiko as well. So, excited to see how the accuracies on these players would look over here. The map is relatively average in length, 2 minutes and 23 seconds long, so not as excruciating as some of the longer maps in this pool. But nonetheless, Mamiyu Dofu Point is out here as the players are now joining into the lobby, and we are starting off with this HR1.
Yeah, so we're going to see Beanies, Brown, Random Name, and Kokotan play this year.
Yeah, bit of a switch up, one change, or actually full Hong Kong roster swap, but Random Name, the only one staying in for Vietnam. And yeah, Hard Rock 1's typically a normally a X/accuracy Hard Rock. It can vary, obviously, depending on the pooler. So this won't be too difficult to read, but a bit more difficult to act, which we're seeing from Vietnam, as they are the first team to drop a fair few hundreds here already. Score lead already up to 8,000 in favor of Hong Kong, whose players have only dropped, I think, 1 or 2 100s each. Yeah, just a pure active off this start, but this is a fairly long map too, just shy of 2.5 minutes long. Players will have to keep their wits about them. It's all about the accuracy, and nerves at this level can make your accuracy pretty terrible if you haven't got them under control. But so far, everybody holding really well. Beanies doing incredibly well. The only player who's still on the 99, I believe. So looks like they, for all the rumours and blank slate that they're proving themselves pretty solid players so far.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, beyond that, everyone else is still holding on quite nicely. It is, like you mentioned earlier, Ethan, the accuracy is making the big difference, as we're going to probably see in most matches this weekend.
Indeed, still, the first KI is still on as the hard section, not catching anyone off guard so far. The accuracies have been steady and have been building up, and with that first KI now ending, we are back into the slow section. 10,000 difference here for Hong Kong as they continue to dominate their map pick. But once again, as you have mentioned time and time again, accuracy is of most importance at this point so far. A few hundreds drop from Kokoten in this slow section. Same from Random Name, I don't know. But nonetheless, that advantage now 15,000 as Hong Kong continues to build up. Another intermediate section coming in. No 100s from Beanies and Brown for a while, but this is looking so good for them so far.
I mean, I'm impressed with what the accuracy Beanies is come in with. Personally, with this very high 99.4 FC that they're still holding on to. Brown as well has now built their accuracy back up into the 99s, as has Kokoten. But yeah, random name, the only player who's below 99 accuracy, but even then, only by a couple of percentages, and that rounds out the map. And Hong Kong will take their first point as well. And yeah, pure active. 8100 FC from Beanie, and 12 from Brown.
Yeah, turned out to be a very good pick for Hong Kong here, and now it's time for Vietnam to answer that with a pick of their own.
Yeah,
Yep.
possibly go with a hidden 1, maybe a free mod 2. They did win it the first time, but go with a DT2. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, this DT2 is going to be definitely one of the more interesting picks. First of all, when you look at the map stats, you have the VPN, which is at about 248, so definitely a lot more speedy in comparison to most maps. I think the one that is a lot more speedier in that case is going to be Nomad 3 with 270. So going into more of that skill set comfortability when it comes to the overall pure mechanics that are present on this double time 2. That being said, what do you think of this pick, Ethan?
It's always interesting when a team bans and then picks at the same slot. So it's never really sure. Maybe they just thought Hong Kong would have better accuracy than them on the DT1, but they still feel confident enough in this DT2 to be able to pull something off here. But yeah, always a little surprising, but group stage, anything can happen. Looks like Brown and Beanies staying in for Hong Kong. Too many bees. And random name Kokotin still in for Vietnam at the moment.
Sticking with the rosters here, and yeah, really putting the confidence in, especially Hong Kong. Seeing Beanies and Brown makes sense after their performance on the last map, and honestly, all 4 players played quite well last time around. So maybe not that much of a surprise, purely based on that, to see them play this as well.
Yeah,
and here we go. This DT2 starting off once more, the same lineup once more to try and get a quad FC this time around. The question is whether Hong Kong will retain their accuracy advantage coming in from that HR1, or will Vietnam take over the blanket for themselves and get the accuracy on their side. But looks like random name out of will be the first one to find the miss on the side of Vietnam. Not the best start here for that team, but still Hong Kong retain the lead, 6,000 advantage as we get off from this intro into a more intermediate section.
Yeah, rough start there from random name. Definitely not what they would have wanted, and that's just going to set the tone and the nerves going for the rest of the map now. They know they're going to be behind off the start, which is going to put the pressure on them. Can they recover? Well, the score lead isn't going away because there was a couple 100s there from Beanies. In fact, it is back with Vietnam. It just shows you the power of accuracy in Taiko. At that score, there is basically no score gap as it flickers back and forth between the two teams. Beanie's accuracy giving the Vietnamese a chance here. Yeah, just flickering with every 100 between these two teams. It's neck and neck right now. And this isn't a very long map. We're already 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, we're approaching the end here. In a map this short, any mistake can make the biggest difference. But players are holding on now. It is more of a consistent lead with Vietnam.
Equilibrium is shifting left, right, and center. It's on the Vietnam side, but just barely 2,000 score. It might flip any second with a single 100, but a few hundreds coming in from Hong Kong. Have Vietnam done it? Do they have what it takes to take this map? I don't really know. 5,000, it may still swing, but no.
Wow.
It will stay on the side of Vietnam, despite that early miss from random name. This was such a good recovery. Just about only 2 100s throughout this entire map from that player. Definitely making up for that early miss and getting Vietnam their second point.
Yeah, and I always think it's
an incredible score from random name. Yeah,
I always think it's very impressive when a player misses early, but they don't let that shake them. And random name really showing that one miss did not matter to them for the rest of the map.
Yeah, amazing stuff from random name there. Truly incredible recovery. I mean, had joint accuracy there with Brown, obviously with the extra 100, and it was really Beanies picking up those 14 100s that gave Vietnam just 1,000 or so points, enough to take their own pick. And again, a little bit of I thought it was a little bit of a gamble, but one that just about paid off. And now back to Hong Kong's pick, maybe going with a Hard Rock 2. They did quite well on the Hard Rock 1 over Vietnam. But yeah, we've actually not seen any no mods so far this match, just modded picks.
Yeah, not tapping into the no mod pool yet. Maybe we'll see that here, but actually we're going to see the hidden one. How do we feel about this pick from Hong Kong?
That's interesting. Picking a hidden against Buttermilk is yeah. I suppose it's a question of, do they think that they have better support, or do they just reckon they've got a better chance on this map? I mean, who's to say? It's a 4.7 star hidden one. It's not mechanically difficult. It is going to be about reading and accuracy. You would back the hidden SS farmer in all of those cases, really. But maybe Hong Kong think that they've got an opening here to go for it. And I mean, they certainly have the talent. It's just going to be about accuracy. And yeah, Xing coming in isn't a surprise. I think the question here is, I don't doubt Buttermilk, Xing, and Henry's abilities. Azure is just an unknown to me. Not a player I'm particularly familiar with, but maybe that is what Hong Kong are banking on here, is the Vietnam support score being just low enough for them to take a point.
I guess that is the strategy here. Let's see whether that strategy comes and pays off for Hong Kong. Banning Hidden 2 and then picking Hidden 1 into an SS Farmer is certainly a very bold statement that needs some backing up here, and I'd imagine Hong Kong are eager to prove us wrong with this big Hidden 1. Length, once more, on the shorter side, 2 minutes and 13 seconds long, 160 BPM, so a lot more comfortable when it comes to the BPM side of things. Not very overlapping when it comes to the BPM in general in this map pool, and not a lot of one force in general from what I remember. So definitely an interesting pick, and so far not the greatest start from Azure at all.
Yeah, and I think maybe this is what Hong Kong were banking on, is Buttermilk, you can see, is holding impressively, being matched by Xing, it has to be said off the start. But if Hong Kong were banking on the supporting score not being strong enough from Vietnam, well, certainly that seems to have played into their hands so far. And yeah, not a good start from Azure. Can they recover like their compatriot Random Name did in the map just prior? It's a little bit of a bigger gap to come back from this time. But a longer map though.
It was quite a big drop early, so as you say, it is a little bit of a bigger gap than we saw last map, but nothing is impossible. But right now, the Hong Kong players are holding on as Azure is going to find another break there.
Yeah, and this lead's starting to become a little bit too problematic for Vietnam to be able to overcome, even though we're only halfway through a lead of 50,000 on a map like this. It's not unrecoverable, but we would have to see a huge set of misses here from Xing and Henry to bring Vietnam back into this one. Meanwhile, Buttermilk on the right doing everything they can for Vietnam. I mean, this is how they play the game day in and day out. This is another Tuesday for Buttermilk, but unfortunately, yeah, just not having a supporting score quite needed.
Needed another Tuesday for Buttermilk, but it's just him. It's only him who's holding on to that SS. Still a quarter of the map left as Vietnam are bleeding so far when it comes to the score. 60,000 difference seems very much unrealistic to try and come back from this, but Buttermilk doing everything in their power to try and bring Vietnam back into this Hidden 1. But as long as Henry and Xing continue to hold on to their combos and those ridiculous accuracies too, I don't see a world where Vietnam will take this Hidden 1 for themselves. One last PI to settle everything down here. Xing with a 99.76% accuracy, still a crazy good accuracy on their side. But Buttermilk, will he finish up this map with an SS? And yes, he will, as Hong Kong will be taking the second point on the board and equalize the match once more.
Exactly. Xing, I think, missed on quite literally the fifth note from the end there, unfortunately choking the FC for them. But it didn't matter, and they will, as you say, take the point. But what a score from Buttermilk. I mean, yeah, that's what that player does day in and day out. But 2-2 as it's back now to Vietnam's pick. Running out of mod picks.
They are indeed, and I wanted to ask, as you mentioned, the combo cap was 400 in Taiko, and
yes,
as someone who's not very used to score v2 scoring in Taiko, what score margin do you look at where you start to think, okay, this is a comfortable lead for a team?
I would say in 2v2, a comfortable lead is sort of about 35,000, 40,000 points. Anything that's 30,000 is solid, but if one of your players misses like a pattern, it can very easily go back. Anything 20,000 up to 20,000, I'd be like, this is definitely recoverable if your opponent misses. But yeah, definitely once you get to that sort of 35, 40,000 point score lead, you are definitely in control of that point.
Okay, that's very interesting, and that's also good to know going forward. And yeah, Noma 3 was picked here, so we're finally getting to see the Noma pool. It's gonna be Do-Re-Mi Goal by Kinema 106.
Yep.
Yeah,
I must say, I'm
map.
a huge fan of this pick from the side of Vietnam. They did win DT2 against Hong Kong, so I'd imagine that comfort from this skill set will transfer to Vietnam in that regard. It's going to be Kokatan now for the side of Vietnam to replace Buttermilk in here, as Xing and Henry will be the ones on the side of Hong Kong. 270 BPM once more, very, very speedy. And what do you think of this pick, Ethan?
I think it makes sense based on how the DT2 went. I'd be a bit surprised if Hong Kong... I would and I wouldn't be surprised if Hong Kong bring in beanies or not. I sort of expect them to be very solid, and they have shown they're a very solid mechanical player. But with the difference between sort of the DT2s and the no-mod 3s like this is that the no-mods that tend to be faster but generally a bit less dense, and there is beanies as I sort of expected. For their pure mechanics, whereas the DTs are definitely a lot more dense and a little harder to accuracy just by the very nature of DT. So I think this is a smart play from Vietnam. Beanie's coming back in though. Makes sense for Hong Kong, and head joined by Henry as well. I think this is a solid lineup from Hong Kong. I don't think Vietnam can be necessarily solid in this pick, but yeah, should be at least... They have evidence that they've won the last speedy map, so who knows?
I gotta mention though, it was very close last time around. It was like about 2,000 to 3,000 points when it came to that DT2. So this is definitely very much up for grabs for Hong Kong. That being said, we are now starting off with this map. Beanies and Henry once more on the side of Hong Kong to try and take that break point already from Vietnam. But so far, Vietnam have been quite stellar on their own picks, and here we go.
Yeah. Generally, the thing you get with no-mod 3s, especially at this kind of level, is they're not really difficult maps. They are going to be pure accuracy, and we can see that off the start. Everybody still holding on to those SSs. Nobody's dropped just yet, although this is a bit of a longer map in the pool, 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. It's a long time to try and maintain this accuracy, but none of these patterns that we're seeing are particularly troublesome for any of these players. Ooh, but there's the first 100 dropped from Henry, but traded back by Katoan. So the score, I think, is 1-100 in favor of the Vietnamese right now.
Yeah, definitely seems like it as we enter the second third of the map, and the lead is very slight, but Henry's going to find a break there, and it's going to increase the score lead for Vietnam just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a very surprising miss there. Yeah, surprising miss there from Henry. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I know to be fair, some players definitely do get tripped up on these easier pans, you focus so much on trying to be accurate that sometimes you trip yourself up. You forget you need to hit the notes. But halfway through, and that's a miss on, quite frankly, nothing there from Beanies, unfortunately. And now there is no combo on the side of Vietnam and Hong Kong. Vietnam look very well placed to take another point as that score lead creeps up beyond 30,000. Another miss there from Beanie. Not sure if the nerves just creeping in after that miss on the slow section.
It does feel a little bit like nerve misses coming off from Beanies here, and it's making a big difference as Vietnam now taking a almost 55,000 lead.
They're just running away with this, and all eyes so far are on Random Name once again, holding on to the double S. Never mind, finds a miss as soon as I say that, but Kokatan still holds on to the FC. The only FC in the lobby for now, but Beanies and Henry, they did so much. 40,000 difference here for Vietnam. It looks quite impossible to try and come back from this as Kokatan continues to hold on to the combo. It does slowly and surely go towards the left, but the time is not there as Kokatan continues to hold on. And with that, it looks like Vietnam have done enough. Random Name, they have been holding for so long, for so well, but it looks like it will go towards the side of Vietnam at this very instant.
It does indeed, and that's a very very comfortable point for Vietnam, maybe surprisingly so. And Hong Kong really gonna have to pick themselves up here and find a way to go to not let this get to them.
Yeah, I mean, I know this number 3 is one of the, I think probably one of the more difficult, if not, I think some players would say the most difficult map in the pool. But Beanie's there really unluckily just missing in the middle section on the slow section, really on nothing. I think just maybe threw them off slightly, but still, yeah, incredible accuracies from all around. But now Hong Kong going with Hard Rock 2. And I think this is a reasonable pick. I'm sort of surprised they didn't go for it sooner. Given on the Hard Rock 1, they were a fairly solid win for them. But yeah, going with Disorder. I do like this song. It's a very good song.
It is a very
That's a
good
classic.
song.
Yeah,
there's
I
a
think
couple of
it's
good
mapped in
maps
every single one of our mods. It's mapped in SCD for sure. Is it on Catch as well?
Yes, there is, and it's been mapped in I think 2 tournaments beyond that in the last couple years as well. So, yeah, Hyun featuring Yuri, it's a popular duo, and for all the right reasons, this song is very good.
100% agree. But yeah, this HR2 gonna be quite tapping heavy. A lot of 1/4 rhythms in this map in general, quite similar to that No Mod 5 that we haven't seen yet, but nonetheless. 2 minutes and 7 seconds long, 193 BPM, and just a lot of tapping and You can kind of hear that by the song and what it suggests the map will be. So really excited to see this one.
Yeah, I know at higher levels it is definite. I've definitely played many a stream map of this song, and I'm not sure if it's going to be quite necessarily a stream map, only 5.6 stars right now, but the real big thing to watch out for is going to be definitely that BPM 193 plus Hard Rock. Not too difficult for reading if you're able to read higher SV maps, but certainly not comfortable if you're a player that isn't able to read those higher SVs. 200 BPM plus Hard Rock is where it starts to get quite difficult. But hopefully Hong Kong will be, well, I imagine they'll be relying on that difficulty in reading in order to take the point over Vietnam.
Yeah, and I was watching the New Zealand-Sweden match, and when this map was played, the SC was so high I couldn't keep up whatsoever. So I'm very impressed that anyone even can, and I'm curious to see how these players are going to do on this.
Yeah, it's should be quite interesting. I don't think it's particularly difficult to act. I know I've seen some scores from various individuals that have been quite impressive on the accuracy side of things as far as this map goes. But yeah, here we go with Hard Rock 2.
Yep, it's time for Disorder. 2 minutes and 7 seconds long once more. As you've said, heavy on those streams, and that hit sound is definitely a little loud, but nonetheless, starting off with this HR2. Last time, Hong Kong did pick HR1. The overall mod comfort did seem to favor the team on the left, but still quite a slow start here for this map. We'll play towards that nerf factor as we start off with this map, and here we go. The streams are now here, and the accuracy does seem to be favoring Hong Kong earlier on so far, but nothing too detrimental for Vietnam just yet.
Yeah, haven't gotten into the real meat of the map just yet. A couple of these finishers aiming to throw players off, but they haven't, and getting back into the longer patterns. One of the first, getting really into the longer patterns now. Ooh, and Brown's going to be the first one to pick up a miss there. That is going to send it over to Vietnam. The accuracy is going to keep Hong Kong in this. But a little bit shaky now for them as a 15,000 point lead is in play for Vietnamese as they get into the second half of this map shortly.
Yeah, and while Brown is back up to that 99, actually got up a little bit back again, but it is above that 99% once again, but that is quite a bit behind the other 3 players in the lobby, and in this slower section, gonna have to really stay focused for the end of the map.
20,000 point lead for Vietnam. Not unrecoverable by Hong Kong, but I think at this point they're going to need to see some misses from the Vietnamese players. And will they be coming? Who knows? There's only a third of the map left, but one more Ki is upon us.
One last KI to settle it all. 1/4 of the map left. Still 2 double S's holding on the top row off the playfield here as Venus and Random Name finally finds an 100 though, but still the combo retains. But Vietnam still in a 17,000 score lead. Brown does recover his accuracy. Might still swing if somebody misses from Vietnam, but those misses are not coming just yet. 17,000. It looks pretty good here for them for now, but any miss coming in at this instant might swing it towards the left. Can Vietnam hold? Do they keep the advantage on their side? 1,000 code combo barrier will be coming in shortly, but no, it looks like Vietnam will be taking the break point and get themselves to the match point on this HR2.
Huge break point there for Vietnam, right at the very worst time for Hong Kong. Beanie's doing all they can with the SS there. And yeah, you look at those 100s, Hong Kong most definitely would have taken that point if Brown hadn't picked up those misses. But unfortunately he did, and now Vietnam will stand at match point with their pick, poised and ready to take the match.
Yeah, just like you mentioned, Ethan, this is probably the worst time to give up that first break point as Vietnam. They just need to find a map where they can try and win the match. And now Hong Kong has the pressure on them to try and not let that win slip away from them. And where do you think they're gonna go with this to try and decide it?
It's an interesting one for Vietnam at this point. Oh, never mind. I don't have any time to debate. They're going with No Mod 1.
Interesting. I was half expecting a No Mod 5 because both HR2 and No Mod 5 are quite streamy-like. So I was thinking they might want to go into that skill set a little more given how confident they were on that HR2. But skill set wise, what do you think this No Mod 1 tests, Ethan?
Consistency.
Fair enough.
It's consistency is the name of the game. I will say it generally depends map to map. Some of them can be more about FCing or just FCing and just staying consistent in that regard. Some of them will be about accuracy consistency. A map of this caliber, 5.7 stars, definitely going to be more about the accuracy, which is probably why we are seeing Buttermilk stepping in for the Vietnamese now. That accuracy is going to be something that I'm very familiar with, very comfortable with. And then we've got Beanies and Henry in so far for Hong Kong. But yeah, and in ACK pick, you definitely want your SS farmer on the field.
That tends to be the case, yeah. So seeing Buttermilk here makes quite a bit of sense. And in the previous match from the tournament, the one I mentioned earlier, New Zealand versus Sweden, we did see the Sweden team have 2 double S's on the No Mod 1, so the only map that they did win in that match. So interesting to see if we might see something similar here as we're about to get underway here.
It is time for No Mod 1. As you've said, accuracy very much important for this particular map pick, and having Buttermilk will definitely help. They do disconnect though, so I'd imagine we get an abort relatively soon. That said, 225 BPM, a bit on the speedier side of the BPM, all things considered, and still waiting for an abort, I guess.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 225. Is it honestly, I would say a little surprising for even a TWC group stage No Mod 1. Something that's a bit more like, generally you'd sort of see it being 210, 200 BPM-ish maybe, but it's nothing too strenuous for these players. But yeah, the Vietnamese waiting on their compatriot. This keyword Buttermilk was on. Apparently his client crashed. Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. But nonetheless, they will be coming back relatively soon. A key player when it comes to Vietnam's strategy in this particular map pick. So I'd imagine Vietnam would need them ASAP in the lobby.
Yeah, now a little bit lucky in the unlucky crash, the timing of it. Had it been too late, you would not have been able to abort the map, but we had not had time to get underway, so thankfully for Vietnam, they do get to replay it.
Yeah, although it looks like maybe Buttermilk is having some more stringent technical issues. Creeper Brian has stepped into the lobby. I believe maybe just waiting to see if Buttermilk can get back in time. And
looks like they will, based on the chat.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nomad 1 on match point is what a bold strategy. It is. You're saying you're saying I'm gonna go out and pick the accuracy map at the very potentially most nerviest point in the match.
That is a
statement. We're ready to win. It's quite a statement.
I was about to say, because in Path there would be, if you saw this situation with seeds this close, you would almost never see a Nomad 1 pick on a match point, purely because, especially at this level, it's a map that most players should be able to play. So I was curious if it was a little bit differently in Taiko, but...
Yeah. No, very, very much a bold pick. In fact, you do often see times in rank restricted tournaments, or even any tournament with a similar level of group stage, that the Nomad 1s will get banned just for sheer accuracy diff or nerves that people won't want them played. But no such option available here for our two teams as they get into it. The first 100 dropped by Buttermilk, maybe just a little on edge after that restart. But it is only a couple of 100s, so nothing drastic, but this is the accuracy map, and that could make the difference.
It really could, and it's very... That delay of Buttermilk's disconnect will affect every player in the lobby. They have to wait even longer to get into it, especially someone like Buttermilk who had the crash. Really interesting to see how it affects them, and right now Buttermilk is still the only one with an accuracy drop.
How poetic would it be if Buttermilk, an SS player, a hidden SS player, will be the one to cause his team to fall on this Nomad 1 despite being a key cornerstone of this pick so far. 3 double S's are holding on from the side of Henry Guinness and randomly Maranel, but Buttermilk trying his best to hold on to the combo and try to build as much accuracy as he can and pray that somebody from Hong Kong will find a few hundreds here and there. But so far, it looks like both of these players will be holding on to their double S's. Half of the map gone and the second PI still in its full swing. The accuracies are still holding. 3 SS's are still in the lobby, and it just looks so crazy so far. 3 double S's, 2/3 into the map.
This is a very impressive score from these 3 players. Buttermilk must be kicking themselves. If they have their leaderboard on, they'll be able to see what's happened to them. And yet, poetic indeed that the SS player is the only one not holding an SS so far, but there's still a quarter of the map to go. And there's only probably 5 or 6 100s really left in it. Little 1/6 dense burst as they get into the final KI. Will there be any budging from Hong Kong here as they look to keep this match alive and maybe even take it to tiebreaker?
Yeah, right now Hong Kong are playing very, very well, and it has to say Buttermilk has recovered quite nicely, but is the only player still to have that dropped accuracy, and time is running out.
The time is off the essence, and Hong Kong will continue to hold their accuracies 100% for both of these players. Can they finish this map out with double S's on 2 players? And yes, they will. A triple SS in the lobby, and a double S player will be the only one to drop 6 100s in this entire map.
And yeah, that reset must have really thrown Buttermilk's confidence and really amped up the nerves. Very unfortunate for them, and Vietnam paid the price, and now it is Hong Kong's pick, and they are set on taking this to tiebreak, and they have the means to do so now. It's not over for Vietnam by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it is in Hong Kong's court here, really, to pick something that will give them the edge. But what could that be? I don't know. There's really not that many options left. We've got, what, No Mod 2, 4, 5, and I believe 3 Mod 2.
I would personally love to see No Mod 5, because I thought the map was very cool, and I think the song is a banger, so...
Agreed. But also, I feel like something that would be cool is maybe a No Mod 4 as well. The constant slider velocity changes is something that has not been touched in this pool so far. A very gimmicky pick in general, or even a No Mod 2 with constant rhythm changes, with something along the lines of like 1/6, 1/3, and 1/4 scattered throughout practically the entire map. Still, uncharted territory for both of these teams, and going into that, this late into the match is definitely going to be quite a risky move here from Hong Kong. But looking at it, you gotta take your player knowledge, you gotta think, and you gotta decide which map will fit the most, and looks like we will get slider velocity changes for the No Mod 4.
Yeah,
going with the gimmick.
Yeah, Puppet also meant by Fur Trash. Another banger song, I do have to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do
by
we
one of
feel
the-
about this pitch?
Mapped by one of the new casters this year, GT. So I think I don't believe I can't remember this map quite well. It's no mod 4s generally, or the gimmicky picks in tournaments, are their own beast. You will have players who are on teams purely because they can play these kind of maps themselves. And we do see for Vietnam that Azure and Buttermilk are stepping in. Is Azure able to play this gimmick, maybe? Who knows? Again, I confess I don't know Azure too well as a player. Buttermilk makes sense, though. Beans and Henry in for Hong Kong. Now, a gimmick map of this difficulty, it's going to be mostly reading-based and accuracy, which is probably why we still see Buttermilk in the lobby for now.
Yeah, we can hope for Azure's sake here that they get a little bit of a redemption. Would be nice to see for them to get a good score here, coming back in after that hidden map they played.
They did play Hidden 1. In general, something that is persistent in a standard, basically, is that a lot of your gimmicks are quite connected to Hiddens, at least when it comes to standard game mode. Is it the same thing here for Taiko?
Connected to Hidden? No.
Yeah.
It's see, there's two kinds of gimmicks. I think Taiko World Cup nowadays does a lot of SV gimmicks, so it's all about the notes appearing in at different rates and confusing you, being fast and slow and dense. I know for a while Taiko does have its own gimmicks. You've got bar line, yellow note, slider, obfuscation and stuff like that, but I don't think we'd see any of that anymore because I think technically they're game exploits, but you know.
Fair enough. But yeah, this map by itself is also yet another Osu original, by the way. 2 minutes and 18 seconds long. And as you have mentioned prior, the SV changes will be the main skill set off this map so far. In Vietnam are starting off quite strong with quite an early lead here as Azure looks like he's quite comfortable on this map.
Yeah, I think I did see them, I believe in Twitch chat, complaining after the hidden one that something had opened during the start of that map, maybe explaining why that map got off to a rough start for them, but no repetition this time over. And the accuracy from Vietnam, I was going to say holding on to a lead, but I don't even know if the lead exists. It's so slim between these two teams right now as you get the ninja finishers coming through. Nobody having any difficulty with them as the map continues to progress. 2,000 point advantage for Vietnam. Flickering all the time. Oh, but Henry misses!
Hey, I was supposed to we enter the second half with just a slight lead, but Henry's mister is gonna make a bit of a difference. And now we're getting into this next KI.
Yeah, that's a huge miss actually from Henry there.
Exacerbate the situation even further. That miss from Henry will give an even more comfortable of a lead towards Vietnam's side as they continue to hold on to their combos. The accuracy is still looking good for them too. But
a traded miss from Azure.
The chain miss as well. It goes over to Hong Kong in an instant. Basically, in just a second, on the snap of a finger, it's Hong Kong are now in the lead. It's just Buttermilk to hold on to the combos. But Beanies, Henry, it's all on them for now to try and maintain that lead for themselves, to try and force tiebreaker. Ladies and gentlemen, will we see tiebreaker in this match? That is the question that is on our mind so far, and that is on the shoulders of both Beanies and Henry O'Free. But the map is in its slow section so far. 11,000 score difference. I just don't think there is any time for Vietnam to come back into this. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going into tiebreaker.
We will indeed see a tiebreaker. Second match of the tournament, we get to see a tiebreaker. And it's funny for me, my first ever Catch World Cup match went to tiebreaker. And my first ever Taiko World Cup also got to tiebreaker. So this is super cool for me. And
it looked like Vietnam might just be able to snatch it there and avoid it, but those misses from Azure unfortunately costing them. But they will have one more chance now, as will Hong Kong, to claim this match in this tiebreaker, which is in German, and I can't speak it, but I'll try anyway. Gott der Apocalypse.
Close enough, I guess. I'm not
it's better than I would have
need him.
Yeah,
where's
probably
Wolf
close enough.
Now, Ethan, what team do you feel is favored on this tiebreaker, if either team is favored on this?
Hong Kong calling for a timeout. So give us plenty of time to discuss. I want to say Hong Kong have the slight advantage here. Vietnam's team comes from mainly rank-restricted tournaments, which isn't to say they can't play more difficult maps like this tiebreaker. But Hong Kong Beanies has been very impressive with the accuracy and the mechanical ability. I would very much expect him to appear in this tiebreaker. And then you've got Henry or Brown, I think, are really going to be the ones to step up. It's between the two of them. I think Henry's been a little shaken, a bit nervy maybe across this match. Maybe that's why they're asking for the timeout, just to cool the nerves and reset and go back in. I think it's incredibly close and it will still go either way, but I think Hong Kong maybe have a small advantage here. Vietnam looks like their roster going to be Random Name and Buttermilk, so yeah, Buttermilk, an SS player, but one with a high enough skill cap to play this is scary for Hong Kong. But yeah, could go either way. Maybe Hong Kong with a slight advantage, but I wouldn't put any money on it. I wouldn't put any Usu coins on it, let's say that.
Indeed. I have a question though, like when you prepare for a match, for example in Standard, some teams tend to not even play the tiebreaker, they don't even practice that. Is that a thing in Taiko as well?
You know what? It's not something that's I've widespread heard of. I know for some players prefer really practicing these matches. Some of them will sort of grind, like I think I believe Yongan was telling me, I don't know if it's one person in this team, but one of a Hong Kong player was like, told him that they weren't going to grind a pool for a tournament very much one weekend, and then they only set 30 plays on each map. So some players definitely take it to the extreme, and on the other end you've got players like the pooler this year, Nurend, who turned up to the European 1v1 tournament and basically sight read the first 3 or 4 rounds because he's just that good and doesn't need to practice as much.
Yeah, Nurend, fellow Swede, very scary player. One of the few Taiko players that I actually know of, and that doesn't surprise me, really. We've seen similar things in Cash to Beat as well. But I also had another question regarding the tiebreaker. They are allowed to put on mods for the tiebreaker, correct?
They are. Do we expect to see any mods from them? It's always, even on the round 1 tiebreaker, it's so much of a nerves thing when you're at this stage that honestly, if mods make it more comfortable for somebody, yes. Maybe 1 or 2 mods across both teams. If somebody is hidden hard rocking this, I mean, even this, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, when it comes to Standard in general, you have like this thing called hidden preference. A lot of Standard players will argue with this, whether hidden is a preference mod or not, but nonetheless, I feel like this is definitely not the case for Taiko. As hidden is just a lot more difficult than in Standard, yeah. So
yeah,
if anything...
Hidden's definitely got its own, definitely very distinct mod in Taiko compared to Hard Rock. Well, they're both distinct mods. I think generally Hard Rock is, I don't think this tiebreaker is necessarily preference, but I think Hard Rock's generally going to be easier if you can read high SV Hard Rock. Because the low SV sections on Hidden, if there's slowdown bits, can be brutal. Even on a map like this, you can just have like sort of 5 or 6 notes that if they're down to like 110 BPM in the middle of the map, they can be incredibly challenging. I don't know this map that well to be able to say which mod will be easier. I think it will be just a preference thing for these players if they feel like they can get the key number obviously being 1 million plus score, because obviously if you SS this with no mod it's 1-0. So if they think they can get above that solidly with 1 or maybe even 2 mods, we'll probably see it. And here we go. We will be seeing 2 Hard Rocks from Hong Kong. Hidden from Buttermilk. Not necessarily surprising as we wait for a Random Name to load in, who will be going Hard Rock as well.
Oh,
this is very interesting. Gonna be interesting to see how this map goes now with this overmod.
Oh, that was Bancho for a moment. I thought the Buttermilk did final on misses earlier on, but yep, and probably
Classic
not.
Bancho moment.
Yep, we love Bancho for this. But that being said, a very interesting mod choice in here. Everybody over-modding this tiebreaker, and I feel like the nerfs will not be hitting them as high as they might, but so far the accuracy seems to be on the side of Hong Kong for now, as both Buttermilk and Random Name do find a few hundreds here and there, but the highest accuracy in the lobby are both Beanies and Buttermilk so far, actually.
Yeah, still incredibly close though. Only 1,000 points in it for Hong Kong. Yeah, it's very early in this map as well, to be fair, 5 minutes long, so the lead is probably just going to stay like this for a while. Flickers back and forth as Beanies picks up some 100s there. Yes, very tense scenes in this match.
Indeed, it does shift more towards the right, but it's just very, very close. It's on the edge, 400 points. It can very much go towards Hong Kong with a single 100 so far. Very close, on knife's edge, one could even say, as Vietnam continue to hold on to this very slight lead so far, but the build-up towards the first guy is coming in, and that's where a lot of stories will be told so far. A 2,000 score difference for Vietnam, a few hundreds dropped for Hong Kong, but Vietnam continue to hold on to their combos as 1/3 of the map is already gone.
Yeah, and I want to point out the accuracy from Buttermilk there. 99.93 still is very impressive as we enter the second third of the map.
Cannot be understated how impressive that score is from Buttermilk so far. Really standout player, holding it down for Vietnam right now as they get a 3,000 point lead. But yeah, not even halfway through the map yet. We've still got so much to go and it could all change. The score lead is basically non-existent. That's sort of like 3 or 4 100s, really. Oh, but there's misses on the slowdown section.
Yeah, there's gonna be a few misses on the slower section, and that might hurt a little bit here. Gonna see how that affects the score.
And that's what I was saying, when you get these maps with the hidden on these slowdown sections, it could just throw you off, even if it's not very mechanically difficult. And now Vietnam in trouble. The score will start flickering over. It's not very dense, which is obviously why it's still close for now. Accuracy will be what will keep Vietnam in this. Thank God it is Buttermilk who missed in a way, because his accuracy is going to hold it together. You can see Hong Kong still only 2,000 points in the lead even after that miss.
Not as detrimental as it could have been, but the build-up is there. 4,000 point lead still there for Hong Kong. As you have said, a 400s is all that it takes for it to switch towards Vietnam. It's shrinking a little bit, 3,000 now. 1/3 still left here off the map. Buttermilk did miss on the earlier section, but the accuracy is just so good for that player. 99.6% as they continue to hold. A few hundreds dropped here and there, but still it's about 3,000.
Misses from Beanies!
It's towards Vietnam though, but that miss is gonna hurt them significantly. Another miss coming in as well. The nerves hitting them so much as Vietnam continue to hold. 10,000 score difference. It just continues to grow as both Buttermilk and Random Name continue to hold on to their combo.
Just 2 FCs left now in the lobby, and Random Name and Brown. Buttermilk's accuracy was what was holding them in it, but Beanies picking up those misses on this high SV section for Hard Rock, hurting Hong Kong so much. There's still time to recover it, but they would need to see a collapse from Random Name and Butter to bring them back into this now. Score it up to 17, 18,000 points as the end of the map approaches. I don't know if there's enough time left for Hong Kong.
No, we are
Beanies
getting
another
more
miss
from
Beanies.
Beanies.
Beanies finds another miss, and that might seal it.
That
It
would
might be
most
sealing it.
definitely feel it, unless there is an absolute collapse from Random Name and Buttermilk in this last section. But yet more misses from Beanies, the nerves taking hold. I think he knows that the end is in sight for Hong Kong as far as this match goes. And the map draws to a close. Vietnam 40,000 points in the lead. They will secure this tiebreaker, barring something catastrophic at the end here. 2 FCs still on going for Brown and Random Name. Wow, what a tiebreaker.
What a tiebreaker indeed. No miracles. Brown does drop the FC as well. It's just Random Name. A complete annihilation here on this tiebreaker for Hong Kong, as Vietnam will be taking that victory over them to secure their first win in this group stage. Such a good showing as well. A few misses on the slower section from Buttermilk on this tiebreaker, but that will not hurt them a lot as well.
10
10 100s.
accuracy.
That is insane.
That is a truly ridiculous score from Buttermilk. In fact, highest score in the lobby, even with those 2 misses and random name with the FC. I mean, what a set of scores from Vietnam. Hong Kong did everything they could, but unfortunately, that tiebreaker proving just a little bit too much for them. I mean, those scores, they've both got 1 million plus. Incredible scores from them, but not enough. And Vietnam will take the match. So congratulations to them for winning against Hong Kong in their group stage.
Yep, an upset victory, all things considered. Seed number 26 beating out seed number 20, and this one will have significant impact on the groups as we have 2 more matches in this particular group. We have Norway versus Hong Kong. We have Norway versus Vietnam, one at 16 UTC today, the other one at 15 UTC tomorrow. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to grab your banners. Make sure to join into the next match as well, which is happening right now on the B stream. And with that, any closing thoughts, Ethan or Inker?
What a match! Wow.
Yeah.
As far as first matches go, that was I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, great match to get to commentate with you guys here, and I want to thank you guys for being here with me today, or rather, me being here with you guys, I should say.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I was glad to have casted with you, and look forward to doing some more maybe in the future. Who knows?
Yep, thanks for having me. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be moving towards the B stream when we have Russia versus Poland, seed number 13 and seed number 29 in Group C, the opening match of Group C. Actually, it's going to be on this stream, never mind. But that being said, I was Leiden. Joined today with me was Ethan and Inker, and we will see you next time.
See you later.
See ya.